Okay, so we're gonna start off with our first question for Mr. Medici. You've led the largest faculty in sub-Saharan Africa, one of the largest, and today you are building a real estate brand with global reach. In your view, what is the unique edge young Africans like myself carry that makes us capable of rewriting the world's narratives on leadership and innovation, especially if you look at how Africa is sometimes viewed as, below every other part of the world? Yeah. What do we have that makes us capable of these things?
Okay, so having dealt with a lot of Africans, and I led the Faculty of Social Sciences in University of Nigeria and Nsukka, which is more than 11,000 students. One thing I've noticed about we Africans is the ability to be very curious. Like we love to explore things. I remember when Sir Jasper informed me that we were coming to Rwanda. I had a lot of things that I had to do, but that curiosity part of me, and out of deep respect for that man over there, I said, I need to be in Rwanda. And today I had Michelle and Meekness, two amazing individuals. Please, let's celebrate them. You know, uh, while we're having the tour around the ALU campus, I was fascinated with the level of details Fred Swanika and his team put into building ALU. And that's one thing that stands us out as Africans. You see, we are innovative people, naturally. Where I come from, Nigeria, there's a lot of things that don't work. But then we tend to just, out of curiosity, try out things. Let's see how it's going to work. So when it comes to innovation and entrepreneurship, specifically as a Pan-Africanist, I believe the ability to be very curious, the humility to serve, and then there's a spirit of generosity. These things stand us out as Africans, and we must always push out those values to the world.
Thank you. Very profound answer. Okay, now on to Mr. Victor. You've co-founded ventures, led initiatives, and built client trust in a very competitive industry in 4 years. What inner drive or mindset has given you the edge to keep turning opportunities into impact, even as a student? Because we know those 11:59s can be tedious. So,
Yeah, thank you very much. So I would say three things. It's just at the time to explain all these things, but it's fair. So first, curiosity, like my brother said. Second, vision. And then the third will be resilience, right? And I'll explain. So I left home very early after my mom died. So I was like curious to like find out how I can like live alone, like stay myself, right? So I moved out of the states, like in total new place. In Kigali, they would say province. So I had to go live alone. And then I started figuring out life myself, right? So out of curiosity, I wanted to know, because I started comparing myself with the rich. I mean, how are they doing this? I would like to also be part of them. So after that curiosity, I had to like start reading books. I could remember the first two books I read, which was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and then The Richest Man in Babylon. So this book started like shaping my mindset, started like shaping the faculties of my thoughts, towards creating that preferred future that I would like to see, right? So that's where the vision came in. So out of that curiosity also and that vision, I was like, no, I really have to like make money. So that was where I started like discovering about real estate, because real estate had like the big industry that would give me the money that I was looking for. So when I met a particular company called Dynamo Group, the first lecture I had with them, they were like telling me if I sell this property, I'll get 10%. And back then I could remember the particular property was 2 million. So if you mean if I sell this property, I'm going to get 200K. So it was really surprising to me. And then I started then resilience, because a total of 1 year in the industry, I didn't sell anything. It was so hard, but I was resilient. Every time you come to my status, you see me posting my business, posting about the properties that I'm selling. Then from the second year, I started making sales, and it worked a lot for me. So these three things are very important. You have to be very curious, and then you have to. That curiosity will lead you to developing a vision What do you want? What's that preferred future you're looking out for? And then you have to be resilient because, it doesn't really work out at the first time, but with time, it will work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Curiosity, vision, and resilience. Wow. Okay, to Miss Sabrina, you're deeply passionate about education reform and women empowerment, as evidenced by all the initiatives you've been part of. From your perspective, how does purpose driven leadership give young Africans the edge to transform these very complicated systems into opportunities for change?
Okay, so for me, to be purpose driven is to be led by something that is much bigger than you, right? And when you're led by something that is much bigger than you usually know the answer to why you're doing something. One. Second, you're very intentional about everything you do. And when you have your intention, when you have the clear why, people are usually attracted to you, which means they're more willing to offer you opportunities. They're willing to give you resources. So that's one edge those young African leaders that are driven by purpose have. Another edge is those young African leaders who usually have purpose, again, are very resilient. They know the problems very intimately. They are not scared by setbacks. They're not scared by challenges. So they're willing to push forward. They're willing to do more things to solve the problem that is now affecting them and their communities. And so these young African leaders that are purpose driven are have the edge to solve these issues because they place themselves in a position where I can't move on until I solve this problem for me and my community, right? So yeah, I think those are the two things.
Thank you very much. To be purpose driven is to be led by something much bigger than you. Wow, very audacious. Okay, to Mr. Peter. So your numbers speak for you. You've trained over 700 budding graphic designers. You've built a community of more than 1,000 aspiring entrepreneurs. From your journey, how can digital skills empower Africa's youth to compete globally?
Thank you so much. For us to compete globally as African youths, we should see our digital skills as something I call our African visa. It makes us become borderless wherever we are on the continent. So you don't need to travel to Asia to relate with people in Asia. You can be right here in Kigali and service someone who lives in Germany. You can be right here in Kigali and work with someone who is in India. So I started out just my story is almost similar to Victor's story. I think when you grow up in Nigeria that has a lot of competition, there's a lot of issues, life challenges push you right and center. You have to find something to do. So I decided to learn various digital skills. Then I had to focus on one, which is digital marketing. And that has helped me to work with clients around the world. These are people that normally I would not have met. But because of how competent I was or I am in the skill I have, I can work with these people and turn them not just from clients, I turn these people from clients to become family. And most of the jobs I've gotten through my digital skill, if you check my status, people who view my status, I don't post that I'm doing digital marketing or I build a website. You never see it on my status. I get most of my clients through referral because I turn these people from customers into family. So when I give them something that is very excellent, they refer me to people of their own caliber because these are high-paying clients. So they refer me to high-paying clients too, who refer me to more high-paying clients. So we need to stop seeing digital skills as things we just have and you're just working with people in Kigali. Maybe you are a web designer or you're a developer and you're just looking for jobs, gigs with people who are situated here in Kigali. See your skill as your African visa that is borderless. You can survive anywhere in the world. It's just your skill. I've been in Kigali for a year and 7 months. I have been able to thrive here successfully because I have a digital skill. And wherever I want to live around the world, I can thrive there because I have something tangible that can offer value to people.
Wow, thank you very much. If anyone has been through the process of traveling from an African country to anywhere else in the world, it's very difficult. And so, just as Peter said, our skills are our visas. Thank you very much. Okay, so just to get a bit more specific, this question is particularly for Mr. Medici and Mr. Victor. You've both worked in the real estate space. And so we're just wondering, what steps should young Africans, whether students, entrepreneurs, or whatnot, and whether in terms of academic or social spaces, um, what steps should they take to position themselves as builders of Africa's tomorrow?
Okay, I will summarize this in just one word. We walk, not me walk. Most times, as Africans, we need to understand that the power of collaboration, we working, is very, very influential and very, very instrumental to results. Now, as a student, you need to understand that this is your biggest asset, the people seated next to you right now. I think across here, we have more than 22 countries seated here, people from different nationalities. Now, imagine setting up businesses, setting up social changes together in different countries. You know, most times we tend to underrate the assets that is next to you while we are looking for assets, venture capitalists, angel investors. I started Medici Homes and Partners Limited in Nigeria when I was in second year. That was 2021. You know, by when I graduated last year, April, we had done ridiculous numbers. And it was true students. When I mean literal students, we literally sold to people from, high-standing individuals, politicians, businessmen, captains of industry. Maybe Victor knows someone who knows someone. That was it. So once we understand this, whenever you find yourself in a circle or in an environment, the most important thing is, how do I work with this next person? It's very, very important. If not, you might end up going through the walls of ALU and not achieving anything in Africa because you did not see those potentials in the next person sitting next to you. So I always tell young Africans, while you are pursuing your academic studies, I graduated with a 2-1, second class upper, 4.3, just a short 2 points out of first class. While you are pursuing it academically, focus on building networks. Like, be so intentional about connecting with the next person. Because they might be the next Steve Jobs and, of Africa.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Could you please repeat the question again, just so I answer very well?
Sure thing. Okay, so our question is about how Africans, whether students or entrepreneurs, can position themselves to be builders of tomorrow or make Africa a better place for us all.
Okay, so right, just to build on what you've already said, I think I'll have to go foundational first of all, right? And then the foundation would be for you to know who you are first of all, right? Who are you? And questions are the host of answers, right? So when you start asking yourself this question, you have to go into personal discovery. Who are you exactly? And there's no how you discover yourself without knowing your source, right? So you have to find out who is your source. I know there are different diversities here. We're all Africans from different, but I'll just use myself as an example. So you have to know your source, right? Know who you are, your source. So my source is God. In my journey of success and in my journey to more success, it can't be shared without mentioning the God factor, right? And God factor because through him I discovered who I am. So after discovering who you are, it will lead you to, it will filter you from comparison, trying to compare yourself with other people, because you know exactly what you are called, which will lead you to purpose. Then after you discover purpose, you have to go into knowledge. You have to fetch knowledge, right? You have to fetch knowledge, go out and read books, go for seminars. And from there, you get a vision for what you want to do, the mental picture of the preferred future that you want to, acquire, you want to get to. They're in here, each and every one of us here will have dreams. We have that thing that is boiling inside us, that is crying out for expression. And there's no how you really find it without finding your root, knowing, who you are, right? And then you have a vision. Having a vision now, you pursue it. That's when we can now come to, collaborating with people. You know who to collaborate with because vision differentiates men, right? You don't have to tally with everyone. Everyone don't need to be your friend. Vision will select your friend. Vision will select where you go to. Vision will select even the food you eat, right? So I think this is the foundation now. If we know who we are as Africans, it will help us develop a vision of what we want to change. And visions come from solving a problem, right, in your community. What is that thing that you want to change? And then from there, you find knowledge because knowledge is very important. In that knowledge, you know more how to go about it. And then, yeah, I think let me end here.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely. Guys, are you as busy as I am writing down stuff? These are phenomenal responses. Know who you are, and remember, we are each other's resources. Um, Very important thing you mentioned was who is your source? And now moving on to a question for Peter. In your bio, you stated how faith is a huge part of your journey. You often talk about aligning with God's purpose for you. So, as Africans striving for growth, do you really believe we can truly do everything with God at the center? And how does that become Africa's greatest edge?
All right, thank you so much. So when I talk about putting God first in whatever we're doing, is because in God we can find purpose, and this purpose is not just what we should do; it is why we do what we do, why we're existing. And I understand God not just in the spiritual aspects. I see God as a creator. God is an innovator. God is an inventor. God is a very deep thinker, a critical thinker. So when you see God from that angle, you won't just see God as someone who you go to church to pray to. Seeing God as a creator means that He has created us. The Bible says He created us in His own image. He has made us to be creators like Him. So wherever you find yourself, you should be able to stand out when you see yourself as a creator too. So you do things in a unique way. So in whatever area of life or field or expertise you find yourself, you need to know why you were sent there in the first place. So it will help you to stand out. It will help you not to just be like every other person in the crowd, because you are not just going to be there as someone who just works there, or someone who just stays there just like every other employee or student. Seeing God as a creator would help you to be unstoppable. We have advantage as people who are faith. So anybody who is a Christian, a child of God, you are supposed to be unstoppable, because God, someone who is a very deep thinker. So you need to find ways you can do things that would stand out uniquely and put you out there. So don't just see God as someone who you go to church every day to pray to. You study your Bible, yes, but don't just end there. You are supposed to be the best. You're supposed to be the one who stand out, who is excellent at what you do. So this is why I always talk about merging faith with whatever expertise you find yourself in. Because God, who is a God of excellence, wants excellence from us. So as people of faith, we should be the people who show others the example of how they should run businesses, how we should live our life, how we should lead, how we should grow in academics. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You are unstoppable. Wow. Okay, Miss Sabrina. So now switching again to your particular niche, which is policy and advocacy, especially around education accessibility. What do you see as the biggest barrier to inclusive education in Africa today, and how can just young leaders or young Africans help to curb it? Because if you think about it, it's a very big issue, but what can I do in my position to help change that?
Okay. So I think a barrier that still exists is inequality to access. There are still schools being built in the most remote parts of Africa, right? But that doesn't mean that those students have access to quality education, which is a totally different conversation. Those students who are sitting in classrooms don't have access to updated curriculums. They don't have access to trained educators. They don't have access to adequate resources that enables them to excel in whatever field they want to pursue, right? So a barrier that I still think exists is inequality to access to quality education. So, as young African leaders present here today, especially as ALU students who have had the privilege to recognize what quality education is, we're placed in a position where we can look back at the systems that we've gone through. So we have both perspective and we have responsibility, right? So you look back, you see that those systems that are now failing the youth have failed us once, right? But now that we are privileged enough to access quality education, we shouldn't forget the systems that brought us here. We should look back and find ways to fix the systems that are still failing the youth. So one way I think young African leaders can contribute to solving this issue is first recognize your potential. Recognize where you are now and what you can contribute, right? Yes, it may be difficult to now push policy reforms, but we can still work at grassroots levels through innovation, through collaboration, through pulling resources and networks to find solutions for small issues that still exist. Find ways to train teachers, find ways to network them to updated curriculums, right? Find ways to create solutions that promote interactive learning. Those are things that we are able and capable of doing as ALU students, as young African leaders who are privileged to have access to quality education today. Right, yeah.
Thank you very much. As a young African leader, you have perspective and you have responsibility, which means you have a clear vision. Wow. Okay, Mr. Medici. So, upon reading your bio, something struck me, and um, you mentioned that you were orphaned at a very early age. However, you've managed to raise a movement touching over 5,000 lives. What would you say gave you the edge to turn pain into purpose and challenges into a platform for transformation? Because it's difficult enough to help yourself, right? And now extending that help to other people takes a lot. So, what would you say gave you that ability?
Okay, so I'm going to do a public disclaimer right now because when I finish sharing this, I usually get people who tell me like, "How did you do it?" And I tell people we are all a product of being helped by God. It's all part of God's plan. And anyone who knows me, I publicly advocate for Jesus. People refer to me as Jesus boy. And I was 17, 2015, August, when I lost my remaining parents. My mom, she died of throat cancer. And I had lost my dad previously. And I was a first year student in the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. As of then, I was studying political science. So I had to drop out because I was the firstborn and had two younger siblings. And it was hell. You know, I noticed we don't have buses here in Rwanda, in Kigali town. I did conductor on the streets of Onitsha, one of the roughest part of Anambra State. And as the process went on, I was able to get into sales industry. That was literally where the transformation began. You know, I served under a man who sold electrical merchandise, Abuja. And through selling, I began to receive, make money here and there. When, meaning I was talking about commissions. I was earning commissions from selling electrical cables for him. So when I decided to go back to school in 2020, before COVID, the same UNN, the same political science, I walked into that school, and that pain, training two younger ones, I saw fellow classmates who could not provide for themselves. And I saw other classmates who had enough resources. So I reached out to them and I said, what if we could create a foundation? It must not be registered. Let's just touch lives. Because I believe that you do not need a position to lead. You do not need a position to transform people. Medici Foundation, it's on IG. You could see a lot of things we've done with no, I would say no external funding, just students then. Now, I fund it through Medici Homes, a part of our profits in real estate. We put it back into the foundation. We just had an outreach where we sponsored more than 200 primary school students in Nsukka, in Enugu State. And then we also donated chairs to them. So, long and short of it is that every pain you experience is a blessing. Every single pain, Sorry about that. the second outreach we had, we've done 6 mega outreaches in Nsukka, in Enugu State. The second outreach we had was to the prisons, the Nsukka Correctional Service. And when we visited there, I remember my classmates. That was first year, second semester, 2021. So beginning of 2021, because we had strike and then COVID-19. So when we went there, they were asking me, Medici, why did you say we should go to the prisons? I said, because when I lost my whole parents, I was in mental prison. Like, I was at that point where I was totally depressed. Suicide never came to my mind, but looking at my little sister, who was 5 when my mom died, she'll be finishing high school this next year. And I was telling Meekness that I would like to bring her here to study in ALU, to give her the best kind of life that I could not have as at that time. So looking at those things, those pain became, it was beyond words, you know. In short, people laughed at me then because the first question they asked me, is it from this your small money that you are making, that you are running foundation, you know? And later I pushed me into marketing real estate because I was like, okay, I need more funds. I need to do good. So you must discover that every single pain you pass through is a blessing. Like, it's a way for you to reach those people in the future, because people will still pass through that pain. So if you pass through it, you get transformed, you can now help others to heal. Simple.
Um, Very, very profound answer. Thank you for being vulnerable with each and every one of us here today. Okay, so drawing it home to ALU, our beloved campus. Victor, you're not just studying entrepreneur leadership. Through the things you do, you're building ventures and whatnot, which means you're living it, right? Can you tell us how ALU has contributed to your growth as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, as a leader?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. So first of all, I came here because of a business that I tried to start in Nigeria and then it failed, right? So, and I had to do like a personal discovery. Why did this fail? So the business was we're into agriculture, and so we're trying to build an agro-tech company, and then we started selling eggs. But the vision was to like create a yolkless egg, because we discovered that diabetic patients don't really like take those eggs. So, but after like 1 year, 2 years later, after we did the whole research, everything had like different teams from different part of the states. The whole thing just collapsed. That was my first venture. So I started asking myself, what really happened? Why did that fail? So I discovered that I ran out of knowledge. I didn't know what else to do. Okay, we've done research, we're selling egg, what else do I need to do? So I had to like figure out I need to go and learn business. I need to go and, get a degree, right? And then let me mix it up. Let me see what I have to learn. So I started researching any business school that I could go for, but then I didn't see anyone that was offering like a BSc degree on it. That was when I found ALU. So I saw ALU, I saw the courses, Bachelor in Entrepreneurial Leadership. I mean, it was really interesting. So I applied for it, and here I am. So ever since I came here, I've intentionally been learning very well, connecting with people. So two things it has done for me. It has like given me um, that knowledge that I felt like I didn't have to like push further. That has expanded more. Like right now, we had like the Ventures Lab now. One of my ventures is in the Ventures Lab. So we had a pitch today, some investors came. So it has really helped me in terms of knowledge, and another thing in terms of connecting with people. Over here we have 40 plus countries from different, so I've learned more about different countries, and it's easier for me. Let's say I want to do a business in Ghana, in Senegal, and different places. I know who to call. I know how to penetrate. So the knowledge, the connection, and it's just 1 year in. I know that there's a lot more to get out of ALU. So yeah, thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. I learned a term a few years ago called failing forward, and I think Victor's story is a perfect example of how when you fail at one thing, sometimes it leads into something even better. So I'm glad that's working out for you. Still on the topic of ALU, Miss Sabrina, as a freshly minted graduate, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Walk us through how your journey at ALA shaped you to become who you are today. ALU shaped you to become who you are today.
Okay, so joining ALU, at first it was very unconventional. It was very challenging because the system here is very different from the system back home or any other school, right? Also, walking through campus, every 5 steps you take, someone's gonna ask you, "What do you do? What's your mission? What are you changing?" Right? So, because of that, I had to learn how to become a salesperson. I had to become a salesperson in terms of selling my vision, the value I bring, and just a salesperson selling myself. So my journey at ALU has shaped me into becoming a salesperson. Everywhere I go, I know how to introduce myself. I know how to bring forward an idea that I want to sell. Uh, the first 10 minutes of meeting me, you'll know what I'm trying to do. You'll know. So the journey at ALU has shaped me into becoming one, a salesperson. Second, it has given me access to a big, big network, right? And I'm not talking about just mentors or this big investors that come to campus and we have to interact with them. I'm talking to the students that I've now gone through school with. Those students are the same people that are creating the biggest solutions for tomorrow. So it has given me a chance to get to know them, be a part of their solution, and also be able to contribute in the way that I can. So my journey at ALU, very unconventional, very life-changing, and yes, I'm a salesperson, yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so as we wind up, we're going to have a Q&A session where you guys will get to ask questions. Because of time, I'll take 2 questions from the crowd. But yes, our last question for all of you, starting with Peter, is what are your last words for us today? What would you like to leave the audience and everyone here today with?
All right, I think what I'll leave with everyone is last time I was trying to explain that when you have purpose, it gives you clarity. And when you're a person of faith, it gives you courage. And when you combine the both of them, you're going to be unstoppable.
Same question. Okay, so one thing I would like you guys to take away is know how to present yourself, know how to interact with different people, and know which circles to penetrate in order to maximize any opportunity that presents itself to you.
Okay, so I would say look beyond yourself. We are sitting here today because one man, Mr. Jasper Ifeanyi, decided to touch more lives, starting from Nigeria to we are here in Rwanda. The stories we shared today was because we decided to look beyond our personal profits to how we could impact not just a generation, but the next generation. So I always say this, it's not about you. You know, thousands of destinies are connected to your lives. Because of them, make a step. And I would love to connect to everyone here. I'm sitting over here later. You can just walk up to me. I'm open. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So 3 things I would mention. Number 1 is purpose, vision, and passion. Now, purpose, you have to know who you are. And then in knowing who you are, you have to discover who your source is. Because what sources a thing sustains it, right? So you have to know your source. From knowing your source now, you have to go into enlightening yourself, knowing more, trying to like create a mental picture of what you want to become. What is that thing you want to become? What is that thing that is crying inside of you that is trying to find expression? And then from there, you have to also be passionate enough, right? You have to have passion. You have to have that zeal to pursue it. So with these 3 things, I'm sure you're going to make moves. Thank you.
Okay. You have heard from our phenomenal panelists. And all right, so ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for our wonderful panelists. Thank you very much for being here today.